All right, so welcome to another edition of Beats and Bytes. Beats and Bytes is the tagline or the name we have adopted here at Techlytics to represent our webinar sessions. Beats, and by I realize I've not really had a chance to explain what Beats and Bytes mean as a name, but this is the second series that we're having this season. We had the first Bits and Bytes in August 26th to be precise. It was around data-driven decision, and this is the second. So Bits and Bytes, these are terminologies in the, would I entirely say the tech world? Yeah, and we're already familiar with a kilobyte, a megabyte, a gigabyte. So bits and bytes, a bit bytes. So bytes is the combination of 8 bits, and they basically occur in that frequency. So every 8 bits make a byte. So and we know today that 1,000 kilobyte makes 1 megabyte, and we know how 1 megabyte, we know how many 1,000 megabytes make 1 gigabyte, and so on and so forth. So bytes are basically pieces of information put together for easy consumption. So that's what bits and bytes is about. It is we're basically dishing out pieces of digital information in the tech world. We'll bring experts who have hands-on experience or practical real life and world experience. We bring them to the show or to the webinar to come and share their thoughts or to come and shed lights on trending topics or topics generally in the tech world, in the agile world, in the data world, um, crypto, artificial intelligence, machine learning, any emerging technology you can think of. So today we're basically delving deep and deep we're basically delving into the agile world. What does it mean to collaborate with your product owner? Some of us have really heard the word Scrum since forever. Some of us have heard a lot of things about frameworks A, frameworks B, which one is right for me, what should I do, what should I not do? And so today we're hoping to dive deeper into these nuances, and we're hoping to be able to shed more light into them. So today we're going to be talking about how you collaborating with product owners, how you can drive more values, or how you can be more productive while you're in the agile team. So I'm just going to do a short introduction, and in another 5 minutes or so, Titi is going to start. The mic will be Titi's, and Titi is all yours. All right. So basically, what is Techlytics? Some of us on the call are returning. If I could use the word users, are returning users. That is, this is not your first webinar or first event of Techlytics that you're attending. And thank you for staying true to us, and thank you for coming back. Right, so Techlytics is a technology workforce development and consulting organization, and we're dedicated to empowering ambitious professionals like you and I, and businesses with essential skills needed to thrive in the amazing world of technology. Technology in itself that you knew yesterday could have been out of date today, and the one you know today could have been out of date tomorrow. So we're trying to bridge that gap to always empower people with the skills that will be necessary to thrive in the ever evolving world of technology. Techlytics started as a passion in 2020. It started with a funny name though. I called it the Rainmaker. The Rainmaker Online started as a YouTube channel where we dished out YouTube tutorials to to people. However, sometimes in 2021 the name changed to Techlytics because we figured that the name Techlytics resonated more with the course that we were trying to push. And since then, we've been teaching in edtech schools. We've been having private tutorials with students, teaching data analytics in data science fellowship programs. And we've also taught product management. Me as a person, my name is Oluwatayo, and I'm the founder of Techlytics. Oluwatayo, as I have a blend of skills in data analytics and product management. So today I can be a data analyst, tomorrow I can be a product manager. We can talk about that elaborately at a later time. All right, so basically as a consulting company, we offer tech consulting to startups and enterprises who would like to digitize their day-to-day business operations, and we also offer product management consulting services. So that is what Techlytics does, and we have basically elaborated on the problem we're trying to solve and the way we're trying to bridge that gap, that is to equip or to empower ambitious professionals like you and I with digital skills to thrive in the world of technology. Right. So Bits and Bytes is one of the many initiatives at Techlytics where we're able to, it's an enlightening monthly tech series where we're able to host seasoned professionals. We have another seasoned professionals in the house this afternoon or this evening, who are going to be delving deeper and deeper into the world of technologies and telling us more about what it means to collaborate. She's a very seasoned professional with over 12 years of experience in the agile world. So you're going to have a fantastic session today with Titilayo. Titilayo and I have worked across organizations. So you're rest at home and rest assured that you're going to get value for your time this evening. Right. So other initiatives of Techlytics, apart from Bits and Bytes, we host what we call Tech in 10. Tech in 10 basically it's our open street interview where we also talk on the streets in 10 minutes or less. We pick an interesting topic or an emerging topic in the world of technology, and we talk about it with another professional, and we basically have the bustling energy of the streets, and we just ask questions, we give answers. So it's a series usually hosted on YouTube. It's called Tech in 10. All right, so we've talked about Bits and Bytes, we've talked about Tech in 10. Right, so basically this is our traction so far, and this is Oluwataya, the person in front of you talking to you, and this is the great team that are making the world go round at Techlytics. There is Jedida. Jedida is a product manager at Techlytics. There is Mary. Mary is a graphics designer, and Adenike, who's also a data analyst on the team. Trust me, we didn't intentionally want to be all women. It just happened. So as time goes on, we've made it a resolve in the house to say any new employee that is going to come on the Techlytics team is going to be a guy. So if we in another few coming weeks, we have other projects that we want to run, we will make it an intentional thing to hire men, so we have a more diluted team. Wow, that's sidebar. Right, so that's the best team that I work with at Techlytics, and thank you for your attention. So I'm going to be calling Titilayo now. Titilayo and I have worked across industries. Titi is a fintech expert who has led teams to build fantastic products. Who has led fantastic teams to build fantastic products at InterSwitch, and it's an honor to have her on the call. So Titi, mic check. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Titi, can you hear me?
Hello, Tayo. Hello, everyone.
All righty.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me too?
Good evening.
Okay.
Yes, now I can. Yes, so the mic is yours, all yours. All right. So please, you can start sharing your screen now.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we can share. We can unmute our mics. I think yes.
Good evening, Titi.
Okay. All right. Please let me know if you can see my screen before we. So I will do like a short introduction. It might not basically maybe you to your mic to speak. But I would just love to know some of us. Like Taya introduced, my name is Titilayo Nubi. I currently work at InterSwitch. I mean, as we speak, as we go ahead, as I speak, or as we collaborate, you get to know maybe much more about me and about the brand. But I think today it's basically about what we're taking away from here. It's basically not about maybe an individual. It's basically about us collaborating. The word collaborating is not just with product owners. We will also be collaborating today to understand.
Hi, Titi. Can you hear me?
Ourselves. To answer your questions, where there are gray areas is, for us to clarify as well, where possible. So, if you don't mind, do you just mind me writing, or just tell us about yourself, just your name, just one name, doesn't have to be your full name, what you like us to address you as, and basically what your current role is in like 1 to 2 minutes, if you don't mind. I mean, if you don't want to, it's all fine, but just so that I can get to know people I'm speaking to today. Just 1 to 2 minutes. Can you hear me well? Someone said my call is breaking. Is that for everyone or it's just for
Yes, your internet, your audio was breaking earlier. Can you hear me? Titi, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, you can continue talking, but it's kind of, I think it's kind of, it just goes on and off. So, okay. Now I know there's issue with your network. It's just coming on and off. Titi, you know what you can do? Maybe take off your video so you can save some bandwidth.
Can you hear me now? I just changed to another internet, to another network. Is it better?
Yes. Yes, this is better.
A lot better. Thank you. Okay. So I was saying that, can we just have like a short introduction and just give us like your first name and what you currently do, if you don't mind? What your current role is, maybe just one word. I'm a product manager, I'm an agile manager, I'm an aspiring product manager, I'm an aspiring scrum master, I'm an aspiring project manager, I'm a software developer. I mean, just like a short introduction. Okay, great, Tayo. Thank you for taking the lead. In 1 to 2 minutes, please, so that we can get into.
Sorry, do you want to type it down?
So I can get like just 2 people.
Do you want us to type it down? Do you
Sorry?
want us to type it out?
Yes, please. Yes, I said type in. Yes, yes. So that it's not chaotic. It's just okay for us to just type. Funshaw team coach. Hi, Funshaw. Nice to meet you. I'm seeing some very interesting names and interesting faces. I think I know them in the industry. Hi, Abiodun, aspiring product manager. Well done, Abiodun. Glad to have you here. So maybe one more person, then we'll just go into the presentation. Oluwakemi, project manager. Great. Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you. And I hope we have like a very good time speaking here. So if I'm going to, how will I put it now? If I'm going above, because a couple of people are already in the industry, for people that are aspiring, if there are some things that you don't understand, please drop your questions in the chats. After the presentation, I'll be taking questions. So we don't just disrupt the session. Thank you so much, Agnes, aspiring product manager and data analyst. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Florence. Johnson, aspiring product manager. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining the call. Thank you, everyone. Yes, can you still see my screen? Or should I share again?
Yes, I can. Your screen is still visible.
Okay, great. So thank you, everyone. The discussion today is basically about collaboration with product owners. And in life, everything you do, it's about collaboration. As we'll be talking today, we'll be definitely collaborating in our various houses, in our various careers, outside even agility tech. We have to collaborate for us to have. Please, is anyone raising hand or something? Tayo, please, you'd help coordinate that because I heard something.
Oh, yes. So Kemi, if you have a question or a comment, do you want to drop it in the chat room so we would be able to take questions after? All right. Kemi has lowered her hand. Please go ahead, Titi.
Okay, thank you. So we're speaking about collaborating with product owners, the key to delivering value. And I mean, this is not necessarily, we already spoke about this. I'm sure you guys have been saying this for a couple of days now, so there's no need. So what are we going to be talking about today? First of all, we'll be talking about the introduction to this particular team and also agile fundamentals. And as we go on, we'll definitely expand on some of those things. In today's dynamic business environment, successful collaboration is essential for delivering valuable products. I already mentioned that in terms of collaboration, it is great across all industry, across all board. But for tech development, for software development, it is special. When I mean special, for you to get anything successful, you need to collaborate. And the reason why we need to collaborate, I would basically speak to that so that I don't just jump the gun. And I will be starting by telling us about agility. Agile fundamentals, for example. I wouldn't go deeply into agile because it's not basically the main focus today. And I'm sure Tayo can organize something where we can talk about or deep dive into agile, deep dive into Scrum or whatever framework we will be using. But what is agile methodology to start with? It's basically a project management framework used in mostly software development. And why is software development? It's basically because software development is more complex and there are lots of uncertainties. For example, you go into the market today or you start building something today, perhaps after a research, you start building something and you go into the market in less than about 1 month. Getting to the market in 1 month is possible something that must have changed. So you have to, Agile just speaks about you moving fast, getting to the market as fast as possible, testing it, improving, collaborating and improving it, and also changing or let me put it this way, applying changes without necessarily disrupting a lot of things because we are moving fast and we call something iterations. Like I mentioned, we'll definitely be talking about Agile basically. So in agility, the emphasis are on flexibility and customer centricity. I mean, customer collaboration, customer feedback, customer. And who are our customers? Our customers are whoever wants to use our products, the stakeholders, both internal, external, and all that. But in agile, there's something we call agile team. And in this agile team, there are roles, which is where the product owner comes in. And the product owner here represents the customer on the agile team. So for people that are already running in this race, I mean, I know that we understand some of this terminologies where we speak about, we have the likes of the developers, we have the likes of the Scrum Master, we have the likes of the product owner. And for the development team, for example, we have our back-end engineer, our front-end engineer, our QA, and I mean, those are the core team members. And the last product conference I attended, there is a need now to have like our UX designers on our agile team going forward. So it depends on the kind of team for you to have the kind of team or the kind of product you're building for you to know what exactly you're taking in the agile team. So for now, we'll basically just be focusing on everybody is a developer. So far, you're working on the core building of the product, you're a developer. So we're not going to be separating it because in Agile or in Scrum, it's not separated. We have the development team, we have the Scrum Master, and we have the product owner. So in this case now, we'll be talking about basically just the product owner and the entire team. So you'll be hearing me talking about Scrum Masters, you'll be hearing me talking about development team, you'll be hearing me talking about product owner. So what are these people going to be doing? What is exactly their role? Like I mentioned, the role of the product owner is representing the customer on the team. So, for example, in an agile team, we want to build something called maybe a Techlytics customer-facing application. that drives payments or drives an airtime bills and bills and all and transfers, for example. What are the kind of people we'll have on that team? What are the roles we'll have on that team? We'll have the development team. We'll have people. We'll have the UX team because the front end is with front customer facing application. So you will have the front end team. You will have the back end and everything like that. They all fit into the development team, and the UX. We need designs as well. This will be taken care of by the collaboration between the product owner and the UX design, and the development team. When do they start? How do they come in? The product owner would have done a lot of work in terms of prioritizing their product backlog, which is what the Scrum framework calls the artifacts. There's the product backlog where the product owner already gathers all the features that needs to go in, either from the customer, either from our operations team, either from our internal stakeholder, either from the development team themselves, because everybody has, like, when you're building a product, everybody has an input to actually taking that product live, taking it to the customer and delivering value as fast as possible. So if you are not collaborating, it's going to be very hard for you to actually churn out something meaningful to the customer. And in Scrum, there are a couple of events. So in Agile, let me take it back a bit. There are different frameworks. And this framework speaks big. Please, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So in Agile, there are different frameworks, and these frameworks speak basically to SAFe, there's Kanban, there's Scrum, there is Extreme Program, and so on and so forth. So here now we'll be picking Scrum basically because Scrum is like the most widely used all over the world, and a lot of people understand. They've heard it. Even if they don't understand it, they've heard it before. So we're just basically going to be using Scrum. I've used Scrum before. I've used SAFe, Kanban, and a couple of us here, especially people that work in maybe large organizations. A couple of them now have started adopting SAFe because it's basically for larger teams and larger enterprise. So in this team, for the sake of everybody on this call, we'll be basically talking about Scrum. So when I talk about Scrum, I mean, everybody's just relates with it. That's not the only Agile framework we have. There are others, but we're just going to be picking Scrum because it's most widely used. And I won't be dwelling much on all this, but we have events in Scrum that basically helps this collaboration, which is basically sprint planning, daily stand-up, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Some of these things, if we are new to them, like I mentioned, I can take questions after, but I won't be speaking much about them. But if you want to know how they are performed, we can briefly talk about them later. But they are just very short ceremonies that happens within an iteration. An iteration in Scrum means 2 weeks. Some people in fact, let me just say between 1 week and 4 weeks. But most people actually goes with 2 weeks because the earlier you go live, the earlier you get the feedback, the earlier you make the changes, the better for you, the better for your business. And for some teams, they even tell you go live every day. Get the customer to test your product every day and give you feedback every day. But in our peculiar organizations, especially this part of the world, we may have reasons why that may not be feasible, but at least going live every 2 weeks makes a lot of difference. How do we do this? How do we achieve this? I mean, we go into we do not speak into the product owner collaboration kind of. So when we're talking about the roles, we already spoke about the roles, and we are moving on to why collaboration matters. And for this collaboration, we are going to be looking at different reasons why we collaborate, explain how this collaboration actually helps us as a team, and how we'd actually do this collaboration. Because a lot of people just, okay, I just want to work with a team. And as I'm working with a team, actually, let me just give them user stories, let them develop. And by the time they are developed, we just have our retrospective, we test, we do a demo, and we just go live. And they wonder why their product is not successful. So why do we have to collaborate? The reason why we collaborate, first of all, is alignment. Alignment. We can't overemphasize that. Alignment means in some teams, we have people called the stakeholders. And these stakeholders can come from business managers, people that actually owns the money, people that sponsor this project, this product. We have people like the sales team, people that like go to the market, go to the field and sell this product to customers. Those are the sales team as well. So from some organization, the business development team and the sales team, they are the same. But for some organizations, the business development is separate, the sales is different. So for the sake of this conversation, when I talk about business, I just mean being business and sales. So business are the people that own the money. They are the people that talk about, okay, how is my customer doing? How much money have I made? And all that. So those are like our stakeholders. And for our product owners, all this alignment has to happen from the beginning, meaning from the top. If you are coming to the engineering team, you need to at least be aligned with your business in terms of what you are prioritizing. It's very important. In terms of what you are taking into the team, ensuring that you have spoken to all the stakeholders before coming to the development team. So in terms of alignment, it's not just with development. You have aligned with your internal and external stakeholders, just in case you have partners that you're working with on this product as well. That's what I mean by external stakeholders in this context. So getting into the development team now, how do you collaborate? We have something called our daily stand-up every day. Once you start your sprints, the sprint kind of feeds off what you have from your product backlog. You take it in, you talk about it, you break it down, you estimate it based on the timelines that to take for the team to actually deliver this thing in the 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month, depending on what you agree. But for the sake of this conversation, I'll basically just be using an iteration. So you can define what you want an iteration to look like or to be like in terms of timeline within your team. So starting with that, immediately you bring that into the team and you're actually even planning. It starts from there. You are discussing requirements with your product owner. She knows the customer better. She has spoken to the customer. She has done a lot of user research, or he has done a lot of user research with the customer. They've taken some of this feedback. They will even go to the extra mile of actually taking prototypes to the customer to check if this actually resonates with them, if it's something they need, and the feedback we get from them is very important, even before the actual development. So all these things happens and it comes to the development team. And when we are speaking about it, we are speaking from a place of knowledge that, okay, our customer needs this thing. This is how we need to go about it. And from the development point of view, this is what we think will be feasible in terms of development. What is the goal that we're working with? How do we get there? How do we move from point A to point B? Are we breaking down APIs? Are we breaking down the services? Are we working on 5 services or 10 services? How is the front end going to look like? What is the Figma design or the design from the UX? What is it saying? What have they done? So all those things will fit into the discussion during your sprint planning discussion, which after that, you will now have a board where you kind of itemize all this tasks. And you can then start monitoring them every day. Check progress, check your goal. Are we still aligned with the sprint goal? Are we still aligned with what we need to deliver? Are we still aligned with the business value that we have actually committed to at the beginning of this particular iteration? So all these discussions with the team kind of ties to alignment. That is basically how we are aligned. And at the end of the iteration, we have something called the retrospective. You review. So at the end of every iteration, we review what has been, what the team has done. There is the demo. There is a check. What exactly have we done? What exactly have we, what challenges did we have? How did we resolve it? How can we do better as a team? How can the product actually do better in terms of what the business or what the product is actually saying during the demo and the review session? So those are like feedback loops that comes and puts the team together and also make them plan for the next iteration or the next pre-planning. So all those things are like interwoven in a way to say that if we're aligned, we'll be able to actually discuss, we can share ideas, we can improve what has been done. Then we kind of get feedback based on everything that has been developed. So that's what this feedback loop kind of speaks to. And empowerment. For empowerment, for an agile team to be successful, we actually need to be empowered. We need to have the power to make decisions. Making decision in terms of any kind of decisions at all. The product owner is there every step of the way to say, this is the direction I want my customer to go. And for the development team, I want to develop, I want to use this particular stack. I want you to use this particular tool. And they should be able to make decisions. If not, that would just probably be a blocker. If we have maybe one boss somewhere that we have to reach out to and is probably very busy and is not responding to us on time, and we now have a 2-week sprint and we're now waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, that shows a team that is not empowered. And at the end of the day, we are not able to move as fast as possible. And we now keep waiting and expecting that response to come. And by the time it comes, it might even just disrupt everything we've been working on, because it now looks like, oh, we're on this track before, now we have moved. So for an agile team, we need like an alignment. We need people to be on the same page. Basically, I think that's just what it speaks to. We are on the same page. We have power to make decisions on our own. So for everybody on the agile team, they have enough skill to actually implement, deliver, and give value within the space of that iteration. And that is what an agile team actually speaks to. So if you have people that are, for example, you have people that are not, for example, let me just use the word intern. Somebody is interning within the team. You should have people on the team that should be able to actually help out, pair with that person, mentor that person, coach that person on that team. And by the time you are estimating and you are planning, you put all this thing into consideration. Basically, this is my sprint goal. I have the capacity to actually deliver, for example, deliver a registration page. But I'm not committing to that. Then next thing, go and commit to like having to add registration, sign registration, pay bills, perhaps payroll and all that. I mean, something that you cannot commit to based on your capacity. You shouldn't commit to it. If you don't have the capacity within the team to actually deliver something, it's not something to say, this is my sprint goal. You are definitely looking for, or the team is actually set out to fail if that is not happening. So the team should be empowered enough to say, when we are saying this is what we want to dish out, we are saying this is what we want to give out to our as a value at the end of our iteration, it should be based on the skills we have on the team and the capacity we have on the team. When I use the word capacity, I'm looking at the availability, the knowledge, when I say knowledge, skill-based, everything, they're kind of interwoven. But when I mean that, for example, if you're planning for you to deliver something, whatever thing it is, and you have somebody in your team going on leave in the next 2 days, and the person will be on leave for the next 20 days, that is not, you are already setting off yourself for failure, because you already know that availability in terms of human capacity on the team is not there, or it's not going to be there in a few days. So why plan for it? So empowerment basically means I have everything I need in this team and I can actually deliver. Accountability, when you have a team, you need teams that are owning the team, teams that they share the same mindsets, because agile is actually all about mindsets. If you don't have the right mindset, it's actually going to be very hard for you guys to actually fulfill your goal or meet the expectation and meet the goals that has been set. This is something that affects a couple of teams. Based on experience, people have worked with different organizations, different development team. Accountability, owning the team, commitment. For example, if you have the product owner, the way the product owner will pick up this product and say, this is my product, I need to go like this customer is this, this customer is actually waiting for this, I have spoken to the customer, I've gotten their feedback, this is what we are going live with, and this is kind of big, it's like a game changer and all that. And you come with all that ginger, you get to the team, and some people are just dragging feet, they're looking at you like, okay, we'll just pick it up and all that. That can actually just drag your team down, because we are not all accountable, we are not owning the narrative, we are not aligned in terms of how we are carrying the product, the love for the product, love for the goal we are about to meet, and the commitment to actually the work at the customer. If it's not there and it's across the team, then it's a problem. And how do we actually ensure this happens? This is where like coaching and mentorship and actually looking out for each other comes in, where the product owner is there, not just the scrum master. For scrum master now, some people call them the technical project manager, some people call them the agile coach, some people call them team coach, some people call them different things. But for the sake of this discussion, we can call them just the scrum master, or we can call them the project manager as well. If they are basically just working on trying to ensure that everybody has the right mindset and the product owner is doing something else. Or maybe other development team, for example, maybe the front-end engineer, for example, or the QA, for example, is actually buying into the dreams of actually getting the team to a place where they can self-organize and actually move things forward. And perhaps we have people that are not moving. The role of those people are actually meant to guide, meant to ensure that everybody has the right mindset. And the Scrum Master is not just to coordinate, remove impediments and all that. Sometimes have like discussions with the team. Have like something called deep dive, something called give back to ensure that we all have the right mindset. Mindset is a gradual thing. You may not get to that height in terms of everybody having the accountability, everybody owning their narrative to ensure that we are all aligned to get our products where it's supposed to be. We may not have that at the beginning, but it's a gradual process where everybody have a change of mindset, have an agile mindset to ensure that we get it to where it's supposed to be. And in terms of responsiveness, sometimes we can have, for example, we're meant to have stand up at 8:30 every day, and some people will not log in until 8:35. I mean, it's not meant to be more than 15 minutes. Stand up is a 15-minute call. If you are there, it shouldn't be more than 15 minutes. So most of the time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes should be done what you're saying. What are you talking about? It's basically about, what's the progress on what exactly I'm working on. It's a discussion within the development team for them to collaborate and ensure that, okay, the sprint goal is still going to be met. If they have any clarity with the product owner, of course, it shouldn't come up in only that discussion. It can come up in that meeting. At the same time, it can come up outside that meeting. But in that meeting, when it comes up and they are speaking to, it's basically just to mention it, because you can't drag everybody you tell them it's a stand-up, the next thing you're there for the next 30 minutes, 1 hour. That's no longer a stand-up. That's already like a meeting. And if you are taking those number of hours from everybody every day, you're more or less taking their time that they are actually supposed to use for development and all that. You're taking it away from them and all. So there are lots of things that should have happened before the sprints. There are lots of things that you may not be able to control that can happen within the sprint. But of course, there's something called meet after, where you can have just the product owner collaborate with whoever needs to be collaborated with. I mean, outside the stand-up. Or you can have one-on-one to say, oh, okay, this requirement is not clear. Can we discuss it? Can you please get clarity on this? Or we can say, okay, this Excel file that we're meant to upload, the format I'm saying is different from what we can use, or the design is, it can be anything at all. And those kind of discussion, everybody should be responsive. If your product owner is not available, for example, it's going to be a big problem. For example, there have been situations where you have product owners in 2 or 3 agile teams, and you're like wondering, how do they cope? So sometimes there is always a defect somewhere where one team is actually getting the product owner more than the other, or they are dragged into so many meetings, even including developers. You have some companies just have meetings and all that, and the time for the team to focus will not be there. So part of the work of us as a team is to ensure that we focus on the important things. We focus on the goals. Sometimes it may be a bit difficult because you may not be able to talk to maybe your manager, for example, or your management and everything, but there are ways to do it. And there are ways you can actually speak to them and make them see the effects of this many meetings and the effects of this many things that are going on outside that is not making the team concentrate on all of them working together and making one person not responsive. Because I've been in that situation where I have to work in different teams, and I have product owners that have to work in different teams. For example, I was working in a team. I was doing the work of the product owner. I would do the product manager, the scrum master. And yes, things like that happen. But what can you do about it? Basically, management. Please, can we get people feel this role so that you can focus? Because if you are wearing like different hats, sometimes it can be a problem. But if you feel you can take it, just make sure that your team are getting the best. The product owner role is very important. Like I mentioned, they represent the customer. If they are not, the development team is not getting their full attention, it will affect the output of the team. The day we are meant to have backlog refinements. Backlog refinements some people call it grooming, where you actually deep dive on requirements and break it down, talk about things that you have not even seen, or talk about things that or maybe development team, or even the product owner itself did not even think about. So it's a session where you can actually go back or the product owner will get the feedback, or the development will get the feedback, go back and check the code or check whatever, or one person goes to meet the customer to clarify a couple of these requirements and come back to the team to tell them this is how we are going on this particular, or this is the direction we are going on this particular thing. And by the time you are going into the sprint planning, you will not have any gray areas. So, I mean, I digress. That's basically just talking about the backlog refinement. So the responsiveness is very, very, very important. And I've mentioned how you can actually ensure that this is not a problem within the team. Reason why we have to be responsive is that as being agile and flexible in accommodating changes and addressing issues promptly. I mean, it has to be very fast, because before you open your eyes and close it, that 2 weeks is gone. And if you have a 1 week, before you close your eyes and open, the 1 week is gone. At the end of the day, what have you achieved? What can you say is like the value you are able to deliver to your business, to your customer at the end of an iteration? Continuous improvements. Collaboration matters because as a team, if you don't continuously improve, which is like the core of actually agile, if you don't improve during every iteration, I mean, it's more or less like a wasted effort in a way, because you have worked together as a team. A lot of things might have happened. It might be based on people, it might be on the product itself, it might be on the process. It might even be on external factors. When I mean external factors, people external to your team, how they've affected you negatively, or even the positive things and everything. In that session, you guys need to talk about everything to say, this was what we did right. This is how we can do better. And these are the things that we are actually looking at working with to do better. And this is how we are going to be doing better. So it's like embrace your feedback. Adapt. When I say adapt, it's basically take the feedback and implement those changes, implement those processes, make those changes, enhance the product and the team's process, so that in the next iteration or subsequent iterations, you actually be able to deliver better. You'll be able to say, these are the things that I have done, and this is how we have improved from it. For example, I take a product to market, the products, maybe for example, I was able to meet the customer's need by maybe 40%. In the next iteration, it shouldn't be that 40%. It should be improving. You should keep improving whatever the customer is getting. Your outputs as a team should be improving. The way you work together as a team. There are lots of teams that sometimes there's no team that it doesn't happen. There are lots of conflicts that happens within a team when you're working together. So you guys getting to know yourselves, you guys getting to work together, you guys improving on the things that you think can do better, and ensure that this improvement shows in terms of your output. Like it's like one big deal in agile, and agile is kind of very big on continuous improvement. And if you even ask about the most important ceremony in agile, it is the retrospective and the review. There's no point doing work and you can't actually review what has been done, take your feedback, improve on it, and actually deliver better, like in next iteration and value. And by the time you deliver value, you don't need to go to your customers to be begging them to actually use your products. When you are delivering value, your value will speak for you. Your customers will actually come in there to come into your products and use your products. And when you are delivering value, you make money. And when you are making money, of course, you know what the meaning of that now is. Either you make you get promoted or you get more money. And for companies that praise something called profit share, you get more profits, and you're able to actually do more things with the money. Or the company also gets bigger and all that. They attract investors and so on and so forth. So what are the benefits? Faster time to market. When you collaborate and you guys work together, you talk, you discuss, you have your normal events, and you do it the right way. All these events happens in some organization, but sometimes you don't do it the right way. You don't do it the right way, you may not get the right results. Doing it the right way can basically just speaks to you having those sessions and talking about the right things in those sessions. So like I mentioned, the review should talk about what was actually done, have a demo, or if there are feedback, please take the feedback and implement those changes. If it's about your process, you improve on those process and ensure that it's better. So when you are doing all those things, you are moving to market faster. You are going to be a lot better than team members that are just there, either having lots of conflicts, or the product owner is not present, or the product owner is even clueless on what the customer wants. So all those things are things that from the product owner, from the scrum master, from the development team, everybody work hand in hand to ensure that we deliver fast. And of course, there are discussion around maybe some engineers not delivering as appropriate. That is the reason why day by day you are monitoring their progress and ensuring that for the likes of the sprint goal, they are actually meeting it. In the stand-up, you're not there to basically police them or talk about it or harass them or something. But as they are speaking in the stand-up to talk about the progress made on each of the tickets that are on their board, you definitely be hearing a lot of things. You definitely be like, okay, I have insight into how this how the product or how the goal is actually moving, what the progress is looking like on a normal day. So all those things kind of helps you. So you as a product owner, how do you ensure that the team doesn't derail? So when you hear those things, you can have a session with them, reach out to them one-on-one, have discussions, and for every sprint, at least have 2 backlog refinements. Refinements doesn't mean that you can be reviewing the sprint backlog, the current sprint, in terms of we're having this backlog refinement today, and we want to talk about maybe these items already in the sprint. Do we have any issues? Do we have any impediments? There's something to talk about before you move into something that's going to happen in the coming sprints, because they might be having issues. Sometimes you might just have people that are very introverted in your team, and they might not speak to you about what issues they're having, and they'll just implement whatever they want to implement. And at the end of the 2 weeks, you're like, okay, what is this? This is totally different from what we mentioned. So part of it is make your requirements as clear as possible. Have your refinement session, discuss with them from time to time, not like take them into the call for 30 minutes, 1 hour, because you know that they have to work. It's not something that we can be talking. A lot of engineers don't even like it. So you can have like short discussions to just like, oh, are we on track? Do you need anything? The acceptance criteria, is it clear? Blah, blah, blah. Things like that, just to get them to see maybe 1 or 2 things. And if they speak to you, come to you and speak to you, please respond immediately. Scrum Masters, there are impediments. For some companies, might just be one database is down. One database can be down and for a whole day. And if it's down for 24 hours, believe me, you have disrupted the team's, how will I call it now? The team's move in a way. The team is meant to deliver these things at a particular date. For every user story, there are probably estimations and time they are meant to actually deliver, because it moves from one box to the other. From to do, it moves to perhaps in progress, it moves to your code review, it moves to QA. And if it's not getting to the right box at a particular time, you are more or less dragging the team back. So sometimes a lot of things happen within the team and within the sprints that may not allow you to deliver what you're meant to deliver. So you as a Scrum Master, you have an impediment. You have to move out that impediment as fast as possible. If you have to escalate it, please do, so that your team sees you as, oh, okay, we already have an issue. This person will actually help us take it out. And it's not like the Scrum Master is the one that will actually go there and say, okay, let me take it and everything. You facilitate this taking out. If it's something that is the developers are meant to do, facilitate the discussion, facilitate the removal of this impediment. If it's for an external party, facilitate it as well. Send emails. For people that work on site, of course, you can walk up to them, ask questions, find out what's actually is. You get timelines, speak to your team, ensure that everybody is up to date on what exactly, and not anybody dropping the ball in terms of removing impediments. All those things will actually ensure that you get to the market faster, and of course, higher product quality as well. In terms of product quality, if your product owner is involved from beginning to the end, the quality of that product will be better than just having the team just work on whatever they want to work and move on. And what is the good thing about Agile? If you have a 1 week sprint or you have a 2 week sprint, for example, whatever iteration it is that you have chosen to use, it is short and you are failing fast. So even if like for that iteration, you are not actually getting the value, you are moving fast enough. It's not like waterfall where you have to sit down and actually have something planned for the next 3 months or 6 months, and everybody just working. At the end of the 6 months, that is when you now start actually getting the value, or that's when you are now pitching the value to everybody. When I mean everybody, stakeholders being internal or external. So by the time you are doing that, you already wasted like how many months? 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, when something that in 2 weeks you could actually even just, you failed, you moved on, you have improved, and you're moving on to something else, and you're delivering value as fast as possible. So product quality, you having all the right skills of the team, you collaborating and speaking to everybody within the team to ensure that you get all the right answers. Everybody now, not just the product owner, the development team, the scrum master, the product owner, everybody ensuring that we are moving towards the same goal actually ensures that we have a higher product quality and better customer satisfaction. If your customer is satisfied, then everything is settled. Like I mentioned, from you getting a raise, from you getting a promotion, from the customer, from the company even making good money and making better brand actually helps all employees. If I work in a very good brand now, it is different from me working in a company where they are just building the brand. Not like they are not good, but my point is, if you are working in a company that you're just building that brand, with time, whatever you do, whatever imputes, whatever quota you are contributing would kind of improve the brand as it goes. But when they have a product where every day is an issue, before they deliver something, the customer has moved on. The customer complains about something today or needs a particular feature, they don't get it until after 3 months or 6 months. Everybody has moved on. By the time you are coming to the market, you are late to the party. Everybody is asking. In fact, they've taken over the market because you have lots of competitors. So you can't afford to be getting to the market late. You can't afford to have a product that is very low in quality. You can't afford for your customers to be dissatisfied because they'll move on to other products. So benefits of effective collaboration from top to bottom, as I mentioned, from your business have to be aligned to your product owner, to the development team, to the end, which is the customer. Both internal customer, external customer has to be on the same page, has to be aligned, has to be happy for your product to be successful. And I've spoken about these collaboration practices before, but just to mention again, I mentioned the daily stand-up, backlog refinement, your review and retrospective session is basically just for you to collaborate, for you to give your feedback, for you to implement whatever feedback and improvements that you guys have discussed, and for you to validate those things. You have done for the last iteration, for example, you gave your feedback. In this iteration, your development team or your agile team has worked on it to ensure that we are delivering these particular features. How do we ensure that these features meet the expectation? It's from the demos. By the time you demo whatever it is that or whatever feature, that's like a validation. You validated it, and that's like the end. And your customers are happy once you take it to market because you are moving fast. It's actually also easier to actually make changes. What are the common challenges? Conflicts. I've mentioned this already. Communication gap. This one is like, I mentioned this as well. Communication gap can be anywhere. You not being available, you being available, you're not doing the right thing, and so on and so forth. And changing requirements. Changing requirements is also an issue. In the middle of a sprint, some people just come and change requirements. And I'm like, okay, what has been happening? Product owner, as a customer, if I don't want to use the word that sometimes you actually do your job well. Sometimes if the product owner doesn't do their job well, it's a problem. It affects the team. If they do their job well, and maybe powers that be, or maybe market changes, just brings this to say you need to change. You need to change this requirement because the market is tending towards a different direction than what you're looking at. At that point, I'm sorry, you really don't have a choice. But like I mentioned, because you are agile and you are having a very short iteration, it's very easy for you to fail fast and start working on something else or start changing the requirements and delivering value for that new requirement because you're agile. Compared to you have to wait for a long time before you actually start getting the value or start delivering the value and start giving value to the customer. So these are like common challenges that happen day to day in every organization. And of course there are more, but these are like things that are just that stands out that day. And if there are any more that you want us to talk about and how we can actually resolve them, of course the chat is open. And continuous improvement, I already spoke about this as I was speaking. And the parts I did mention are collaborative tools. There are lots of tools that we use for collaboration. For example, for the project management part, everybody knows that the most widely used, I don't know if everybody was, most likely uses Jira. So I love Jira so much, but there are a couple of them. There's Asana, there's ClickUp. There are a couple of them that people use for, there's Trello, that the most common use Trello as well for project management. So this one helps you to say, this is my board. I can see the tickets I'm working on. When I'm done with this, I move to the next person and assign it to the next person. And when I'm done, I can definitely drag and drop and close the tickets So everybody coming to that board, they are seeing everything happening within the team on that board. Anything that is not on that board, believe me, it doesn't exist. Nobody's working on it if it's not on that board. So those are like importance of having a collaborative tool. Another one is the real-time communication. A lot of companies use Slack, some use Teams, and some use Skype, depending on what you want to use. And all these tools is basically for you to be able to reach out to your colleague and immediately get them. If possible, you want to make a call, dial them into a call, resolve the issue fast, and move on to the next one and continue your discussions or your implementations and your value. So the last one I'm speaking to is about documentation and knowledge sharing tools. A couple of companies use the likes of Notion for documentation, because in the tech world, it's a fast changing environment. At the same time, the way the likes of technology is changing, people are also changing. A lot of people move out fast. They get another job somewhere. You get a remote job. They get jobs here. They move on. And in some companies, the knowledge just sits in someone's head. But for us to kind of reduce this key man race, no continuation, and people are just lost. For example, you resume in a place, no documentation, nothing to even pick up from where the product owner or the Scrum Master even left off. Or even the development team, in terms of architecture, in terms of design, in terms of the database that was used, modeling and data modeling and so on and so forth. So you're just there, you're lost. But when you have a documentation tool, it will be a lot different. Handover will be seamless. You get there, you're able to pick up stuff. Although a couple of people don't like reading, but I want to believe that for the likes of everyone on this call, reading, I mean, you can't run away from it. For me to sometimes reading can be a challenge. I'm just like, okay, all these things, I have to read everything. Okay, but because I don't have a choice, I need to just read, I need to study. It's my job. I need to get this thing into my head so that I can get my job running and run smoothly, for that matter. So I need to read. So those kind of documentations, we can use Confluence, there's Notion, and so many more out there that you can actually use for your documentation. In conclusion, collaboration between Scrum Masters and product owner is a linchpin of agile success. It's not just about building the product right, not just about building it right, but it's about building the right products. When you build the right product, you have the right customer. And once you have the right customer, they are willing to pay for the service you are offering them. And when they are willing to pay for your service you are offering them, you have lots more in terms of revenue generation, in terms of profit, in terms of investors, in terms of whatever. And when the company is happy and when they are making money, the staff are also happy for the most part. Once you are in an agile team and your team keeps delivering, I mean, I've experienced it one time too many, your team delivers, you will feel fulfilled. And when you feel fulfilled, if it's like a structured environment, you definitely get your promotions. You have appraisals. You'll be able to say, even if something is going on and you have noticed that, okay, some people are not being objective, you can say that in my product, this happened. I've been able to deliver this value. We've been able to generate this amount of revenue. We've been able to make these customers happy. And therefore, I deserve this outstanding performance review or promotion. And this brings us to the end of this session today. I want to say thank you for listening, and I will now take questions.
Thank you so much, Titi. Thank you. That was a fantastic one. Thank you so much. May I have my notes beside me that I've written. But first, I know there's a question in the chat room from Olufunsho. Now is a good time. If you have a question, please, you can raise your hand or you leave them in the chat room, or you use the Q&A button, anyone. But first, let's quickly take Funsho's question. All right, Okui, I can see your hand up, but please keep it raised. Let's quickly take the question in the chat room. So Funsho says, there's something about management interference and perspective to agile transformation in organization. Mostly this impact or is against the ethics and dictates of business agility as outlined by this framework. I believe it's speaking to the Scrum framework and all of that. How do you see this can be handled, particularly since in our context, we mostly see management or leadership as people that cannot be challenged or corrected? So that was Olufunsho's question.
Interesting. So thank you so much, Olufunsho. I've been in this situation one time too many. So for this, yeah, for us to, the truth be told, for you to drive agility, you need to drive it from the top. You can't drive agility just within your team alone. You need to drive it from the top. So, for example, I would use a very perfect example. For example, back then at InterSwitch, we were using a framework called Scrum. And at a point, it came to the realization that the company is getting so large, and perhaps we are having a lot of like drop-offs in terms of some things that needs to be done. And we needed to move to a different framework called SAFe, which we kind of cater for our focus, our business needs. And when I say business needs, I would mention the fact that we have like sometimes we can have queues in terms of what needs to be delivered, as many as you can be getting like 500, 1000. And how many team members do you, how many teams do you have? How many implementations team do you have? How many developers do you have? Let me put it that way. And you need to prioritize. You need something to be done. Most times, I mean, for the Scrum framework, the product owners, most of the time, yeah, they prioritize, they speak to the business managers, a lot of back and forth happens, and you definitely speak to, of course, operations team, stakeholders, a lot of people, and you get something out. But we still find out that there are still lots of issues. So we now moved out from, let's stop using the normal one. It's not so different from Scrum though, but the difference is that there are some mathematical implementation or approach they put into prioritization. For example, you want to prioritize, you will not just be prioritizing based on, oh, must have, would have, blah, blah, blah. You'll be prioritizing based on what is the business value you want to put to these items. Number one, if you have 100, first of all, cut it down to like 20. Let's start from there. Or if you have 500, cut that to 100. Let's even know where we are going. Then from there, we'll now look at what is the cost of, what's the efforts required, for example. We'll talk about that. What is the cost of delay? What are the risks of not taking this out to the market? What's the business value? And a couple of stuff, like I mentioned, it's kind of mathematical. I think about 3 of them. There's the risk part, there's the time to market, there's the time to market criticality. I think then the one is about cost of delay or something like that. Or efforts. I really cannot remember the last one. Check one of my archives. So all those things cannot be, you can't basically just come up with that by yourself and just expect the management to accept it. So what we did at the Switch them from the management actually attending the agile trainings themselves, because a lot of them don't understand what agile is. They just were like, okay, you guys are talking about something. Okay, agile. What does it mean? Someone will tell you, why can't you create your own agile? Like a lot of people are that, how will I put it? That's not knowledgeable about the word agile. So number one, drive it from the top. When you're driving it from the top, you are speaking to them. You are letting them know the importance, the impact, what value they can get from it. There's no point working on 100 projects and not delivering anyone. By the time you work on 100 projects, you don't deliver any. At the end of the day, you don't gain anything. Like revenue, customer satisfaction, zero, nothing comes out. So once you drive it from them and you are able to now take it down to the core teams, it's easier to manage that way. So when you're speaking to it to say, we are the experts, we are the ones looking at this way, we are the ones coming up with this prioritization, we are the ones working on how we want to deliver and how we want to manage our customers and everything, and they empower us to do that.
Hello, is Titi still on the call? I can't hear her again. Adenike, can you confirm? Can you hear Titi?
No, I can't.
Okay, Titi, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Where did you lose me? It's been a while or just now? Has it been
No,
a while or
just
just
about
now?
10 seconds. Just now, just
10
about 10
seconds.
seconds back.
Okay.
No.
So what I was saying, if you employ me to do a job, trust me to do my job well. So I can understand the struggle, but where like you have the coaches, the agile coach, the scrum master, it's for them to be able to speak to this management, make them understand perhaps maybe schedule a training for that. I know it's hard, but it's you wouldn't call it a training. I mean, we need to be emotionally intelligent as well. They are our bosses, they are the ones speaking, they are the ones paying our salaries. So when you are going to them, you are speaking to giving them facts. And sometimes you can even tell them, please, can we try this thing out? Just give us this time. Let's see the value, then we can come back to the drawing board to say, does this work or this not work? So most times I don't think we should let them interfere. Once they interfere, at the end of the day, I mean, they've diluted the whole agility, and we may not get required excellence and success if that happens. So thank you. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah,
Okay,
I believe so. He has been giving you thumbs up. He has been giving you thumbs up since. So
thank you.
yeah, so you answered this
Thanks,
question.
Masha.
Thank you so much, Titi. That was I love the part where you mentioned that the business leaders, they hired you for a reason. They saw a skill and a potential in you. It should empower you and at least trust you enough to be able to take some decisions, and whatever decision you're coming up with. Of course, you're also coming with hard facts and data to back up whatever decision you want to take. They should trust you enough that you will deliver excellently well. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And also, yes, agility needs to be driven from the top. If the top guys don't understand it, there's barely anything you can do. Thank you so much. All right, Okwi, let's have your question. You can unmute your mic. Okwi, I can't pronounce the full name, but please unmute your mic. Can Okwi hear me? Or if you're having challenges of muting, okay, yes, speak. You can speak now.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, Titi. Good evening. Hi. I said my question is not so serious. I just want to be sure I understand what you're saying properly. So product owners, are they the same as product managers?
Okay. Error message from the post. Okay. Yeah, product owners, are they the same as product managers? I would say that it depends. But I would say that in this context, product owners work solely with the development team, and they represent the customer development team. For the product managers, they deal more with strategy stuff in terms of managing some customers, in terms of market research, which the product owner actually does, but they do theirs from some um, um, refined, or how will I put it now, narrowed down approach. But for the product owners, they are more or less into the strategic part. But sometimes the product owner and product owner in some teams actually do the same thing. But in the context of agile, product owners actually are always with the development team. So look at it from this way, where you have somebody going to the market, speaking to customers, doing lots of research work, doing lots of strategy and all that. Strategy, it's a lot of work. So when we are doing that, you will not have time for the product owner. So for most teams, or for big establishments, you have the product owner on that team, and you also have a product manager in that team as well. Do you understand? So the product owners are the ones that actually sits with the engineers, works with them, represent the customer, they are the voice of the customer in a way on that team. I don't know if you got that.
Oh, yes, I got it. Sorry to ask again. So what do the product managers now do? Exactly.
Like I mentioned, they deal more with strategy. They also work with and it depends in different teams. I don't know if you got that. For example, in the last product conference that happened, I don't know if you heard about that, the one that was hosted by the likes of InterSwitch, Work Nigeria, and Co., where we have Silicon Valley Group in Nigeria. They believe it's just the product manager. Product manager does everything. If you are not speaking to customers, you are not doing your customer research, you are not doing your surveys, you are not doing anything like this, really nothing you're doing and all that. But for agile purpose, in quotes, They speak to product owners, being with the development team, writing user stories, doing acceptance criteria, and so on and so forth. But the product managers, there are lots of things in terms of managing a bank. Bank is my customer. I'm managing them. I'm speaking to them on my product. I'm going to them to tell them that, okay, this is my product. These are the new things that we have, blah, 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 blah. They are more or less like the external guys. The product owner are more or less like the internal guys, although with one leg of external outside. I don't know if you get it. But if you are more, are you a product manager or product owner? Or are you in the field at all?
No, I'm a product specialist.
Product
Specialist.
specialist.
Operation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so in that case, I understand where the confusion might be. In that case, for people in operations, most of the time, they will be speaking more with the product owners. And sometimes there are some things that will go to the product manager. So like I mentioned, it just depends on what particular company you work with and all. For my company, for example, I have a product owner that works with me on all the day-to-day for the development team. If you need any questions or this requirement is not clear, this user story, can you check the acceptance criteria? What does the customer say? What does the customer want? And everything. That's the product owner. But there are some things like, for example, because my product or my former product, I've left that team, I speaks to things around CBN. There's somebody that represents PayDirect, for example, with CBN every time. That person is the product manager. She doesn't have time to stay because that CBN meeting can be as long as maybe 1 hour. Of course, there's the business part. That's different. There's the product part where they'll be talking about money and they'll be talking about how to implement some new features, how the directive has changed, how this has happened and all that. If a product owner sits on that and does that from morning till night, the development team will be suffering. So for product owners, they are like the technical product owners or product people, let me not use the word owners, technical product people that understands the requirements to the letter and stays with the development or agile team to ensure that they get this out to the customer, ensure that the goals are met, ensure that the value is actually given to the customer. That's like end-to-end flow. But for the product manager, it's slightly different. They work more on more strategic things. They work closely more with the strategic partners. For example, I mentioned CBN, and at the same time, they also work with the management in a way. For example, monthly presentations or what has happened within like a corporate system, for example. Another corporate system, you have like maybe 2 or 3 products. It's a product manager that actually works with our own management to say, these are all the things that's been done. These are all the features. These are what we need to also do to ensure that we empower our team to get this done and all that. So I don't know if you get it, but for organizations is different. Some people just say, okay, I just have a product manager, and that product manager works with both development and works with customer. But it now depends on the scope. If the scope is large, then there's no way one person can manage the two, because the product owner still has to be an agile technical person that understands the requirements and stays with the development team. If not, there will be chaos in the team and there will be a gap somewhere because the role is kind of broad. Don't forget that the product manager, there's also the compliance part. There's also the risk people for them to work with. There's also the part of the UX team for the product manager, the product owner to also manage, because they are the ones bringing what the team, or what I call it now, the agile team will be working on into perspective. So there are lots of moving parts for product managers and product owners. So you can't have one person managing all that, especially for a large product. But in startups, most times they just use one person to say this is a product manager or can work as a product owner, or they just call them product manager and just move on. But at the end of the day, it depends on the context. If it's a large company, large product, yes, you need a product owner, you need a product manager. But if it's a small company, you can definitely have one person perform both owner and the manager role. I don't know if that answers your question, or it leads to another question. Okay, thank you. We have more questions, Tayo.
No questions in the chat room as far as I can see. And thank you, Okwi. I believe your question has been answered, Okwi, correct? All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, I'm not sure if I heard somebody speak. All right, thank you so much, Titi, and thank you for the wonderful presentation. The things that really stood out for me was when we were talking about product owners having to collaborate with the development team, having to do backlog refinement, that it shouldn't take 1 billion hours to do refinement, and the bit where product owners should naturally do their homework. And this is a bone of contention in agile teams or in companies today, that says product owners at times come with fantastic innovative product ideas, but they've not even done their homework to understand how things work. And there's usually that friction between the product owners and the development team, because they're asking you questions during refinement sessions and you cannot answer those questions perfectly well. It's always advisable that you do your homework and you make backlog refinement or backlog grooming sessions precise and short and straightforward. Thank you so much. It was great having you on the call today, Titi. Our time is quite fast spent. Thank you, everyone. In the chat room, Adenike has dropped a survey link. Please take out 2 minutes to fill the webinar survey. We would like to make this webinar.
Taya, are you still there? Okay, I initially thought it was my network. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sure she will join us soon. So what she was trying to talk about is for everyone on the call to please take out time to fill the post webinar survey. Thank you so much. I'm sure Taya will soon join us. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So Tayo is having network glitches, so we really appreciate you for joining today's webinar, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and please do enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much, Titi. It was such a wonderful section. Thank you very much. Okay, Tayo is back.
Thank you. Adenike, have you closed the meeting? My internet's went off.
Okay, I've not really. You can still close it, but I made everyone understand that you had a.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying back. Thank you so much, Titilayo, for the insightful session. This meeting would like to bring it to a close right now. Thank you so much. Once the recording of this session is available, I would send it to everybody's email, and you get it in your email, and it will also be on YouTube. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.